Everyone relax. This is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Wil Anderson. Hello, and thank you for watching.
And once again, I waited for you to take a big sip before I started talking.
Well, we were just having a normal conversation, and then you said, start recording.
Oh, yeah, because there's stuff I want to talk about that came out of my experience. Because we're talking about headphones.
Yes. We just put on the
noise-cancelling headphones.
Oh, okay. So you want noise to be cancelled?
Yeah, so when I flew down yesterday, or a couple of days ago, I bought these, I don't even know what brand they are. I think they're Sennheiser. You know, sometimes like Muji or Stanley, you find a brand and you're like, well, you know what? I like this model of this brand. Surely everything I get will be the same level of quality. So I had these
You
Sennheiser.
mean Apple?
Yes. So I bought these Sennheiser ones, loved them. They broke. So I just randomly grabbed Sennheiser. Didn't do any research on it. And they're the shittiest. I hate them. They've been my. I hate using them. And
mate, no, sorry. These are Sennheisers. It's a completely different company.
This is Sennheiser. They're noise cancelling headphones.
Yeah.
But I was on the plane on the way down.
And you know what they consider noise? Your podcast.
Yeah, the fucking iPad. I'm on the plane. And I can't hear, like I've got the music up full bore, the sound up full bore on my iPad. I'm literally, the person next to me thinks I'm crazy because I'm pressing in my headphones as tight as I can so I can hear what's going on my TV show. So when I got to Sydney, I'm like, I'm going to go get some new headphones. So I went to JB and I never do this, but you know how they have the listening station where you can go and try all the headphones on and like play it. And you can even these days Bluetooth your own music. So it's like, what will TOFOP sound like in, with surround sound or whatever?
Do you? So, I mean, JB is pretty much the only place. I mean, I know there are other places that you could go to for those sort of things, but it is predominantly the most easily accessible, available, will have what you want place for that.
I think so.
But also, I am influenced by the fact that John Deeks does the ads for them, because he's part of the broad, extended TOFOP family. I feel when I go into a JB, in some way, I'm kind of supporting John, and in return supporting us.
I had the same thought because I was in Westfield. There's a million shops I could choose from, but I deliberately sought out JB. Because I've always, a bit of brand loyalty. I used to, back in the days of physical media, I used to love going to JB.
Of course.
And browsing the DVD section.
I still like going.
And the staff recommends and all that kind of stuff. That was a great experience.
By the way, just on a side note, I was in Canberra, because, I mean, when people hear this, it will have been a while ago, but I was in Canberra and I went to, where I used to go to uni, there was a mall near there, and I hadn't been there in over a decade. I was like, oh, that might be fun to just go to the old mall that I used to hang out with when I was at uni, and hang out with.
Did you dress the same way? You put on a flannel, you put a little goatee, soul patch,
well,
rock up on a skateboard.
Here's what I would say is, some of the shops are still the same as they were 30 years ago. So if I'd rocked in still being the same, I think they would have been like,
Will's back.
Together at last.
Yes.
Where have you been?
Yeah.
We've been waiting and nothing has changed.
Hotel California.
They kept the food court pretty much like a parent might keep a beloved child's bedroom, perfectly preserved. That's how it felt a little bit when I went there. But there was a place in an actual shop in the mall that was still selling CDs and DVDs.
Amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
Drugs.
I mean,
it's the only answer.
it was, but it was all those things. It was posters.
But was it because there are physical media obviously still exists, but it's normally kind of niches, and this is the 4K Blu-ray Criterion store. No, it just generic
felt like
daddy daycare.
It felt like if
the
you
Twilight box set.
If you needed to shoot an era-specific thing
right.
about a time in which the only place was you could get CDs and DVDs, this would be the place to do it.
Okay.
And it was also surrounded by, it was that old school thing of here are all the posters on a rack that you could, and here are all the band T-shirts.
Oh my God, so it's that old school.
Yeah.
So
the whole
love that.
vibe of the shop was...
Do you remember posters, going through poster racks? That's amazing. What did you have a look at the poster rack?
I mean, all the ones you'd imagine. If your band...
Slipknot.
Yeah, absolutely, of course.
Was there any older bands, kind of legacy bands?
Yeah.
Like Led Zeppelin?
Maybe
too old.
Maybe I didn't see
Nirvana.
Led Zeppelin. Yeah, definitely Nirvana. Definitely Guns N' Roses.
Oh,
definitely.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, there was...
Who's going into this store? I mean, that would be like you and I at this, like if we were teenagers going in and getting like a Bing Crosby poster from like a poster rack.
Well, I did go into the store, but I went into the store very much in a, what's going on here?
Yeah, right.
Like, because even when I was like,
Is that a reliable business model when you're playing to that market?
Have you ever
what's
thought,
going on here,
what's
market?
going on here?
What's all that about, crowd?
Yeah, that's right. Natural curiosity. And then once they're in, I was flipping through the CDs and I was like, oh, this is really fun. I love the idea that I can flip through these CDs. But also in my head, every time I found one, I was like, well, I don't have a CD player.
Yeah.
So it would be, I have a cupboard full of CDs, but I don't have a CD player. And then there was like DVDs and stuff, and I was like, I don't think I have a DVD player.
Well, where do CDs in today's in 2025? Because obviously you've got vinyl and that hipster scene and people who love vinyl. And there's something about the tangible nature, and then you've got obviously like MP4s or whatever the highest fidelity digital version is. Where does it is there an advocate for CDs to say, actually, you know what, there is something about. Because they're digital, right?
I mean, I think the quality of them's probably pretty... I mean, it'd be higher than vinyl, for example. Like, there is a different sound you get from vinyl, but you would be able to get like a more...
But is what you're getting on like a digital... I don't even know how to describe it. Non-physical digital download. Is that...
You ever like seen like somebody post something on social media, you don't know anything about them or their background, but it's the only bit of information you have about that particular topic, so you just assume it's true?
Yes.
I've heard.
Okay, good.
I've heard that if you listen to something on Apple Music, and I'm no shill for Apple Music, now I'm just repeating what the person said in their post. I'm not a shill for Apple Music, but apparently Spotify, the way they compress their songs versus what Apple compress their songs, it sounds better to listen to things on Apple Music than it does on Spotify, because the more that things get streamed or the way that they are streamed, yes, can diminish your experience. So I'd imagine, just based on that, that if like from streaming, there is a diminishment of like what is, like what you're hearing, I would have thought that CDs would probably be one of the better ways to listen to what's...
Do you have any info on that, Mike?
Yeah. So Apple Music generally offers a higher audio quality than Spotify.
Yeah, that's what I've always said.
and you're no fan of Apple Music.
I'm no shill for Apple. I'm no shill for Apple Music.
But in terms of like CD, the CDs have
So with vinyl, they have to shave off some of the frequencies to physically embed it in the wax, right?
Yep, great.
Yeah.
But people like that gives a certain quality.
Oh, what butt people?
Yeah. I don't think you'd say butt people. You have to beep that.
Yeah.
CD wise,
he just let that go through the key. Just raised the bat, let it go through the key.
Just let it.
Adjusted his gloves, waiting for the next delivery.
Left himself an edit point if necessary.
Cut that. CD wise, you've got more information, more frequencies.
Yes.
You got higher. I think these are called WAVs.
Right.
So like a WAV file.
When people talk about bit rate and that, you got more information there.
Yeah, you got more in a WAV. Yeah, but that's why that's like sometimes when I have to change something from a WAV
to an MP3,
to an MP3 like to make it able to send.
Yes,
that's because you're compressing like the things that you might be able to have. Is that what you're...
So the same way you would compress a photo, you got a high res photo, 4K.
Yeah.
Right. You make it a smaller JPEG, different file type. You can fit more. So you can see the same thing. You're just taking little chunks out to make the file smaller. But
this is how I felt when I watched quality. This is how I felt when I watched Hamilton. I was like, see, someone's finally explained something to me that I've always wanted to know about, but in a fun way.
But is there... but is there degrees of a WAV? Like, can you have like a sort of a low fidelity WAV and a high fidelity WAV? And where does is a CD the highest you could get, or could you have a digital WAV that's higher than a physical?
Oh yeah,
CD?
like on a Blu-ray or something.
Yeah.
Would that be a higher WAV?
So you can have a different bit rate of a WAV. So generally a CD is 44.1 kilohertz.
Oh yeah.
16-bit, right? But you can have 48 kilohertz and 24 bits. So now with higher recordings, the margin is like, it's not much. But you can.
I can hear it. Though.
There's not that much. But here's the catch though. They did tests on a high quality MP3 versus a standard WAV. So this podcast is 16-bit, but it's an MP3, 192 kilobits per second.
Yeah,
right?
You need to hear it in full fidelity.
Compare that with a WAV of a CD. No one can tell the difference. Like most people you cannot tell the difference between a high quality WAV. Between a high quality MP3 and a WAV.
Yeah.
And then it would also depend on the quality of your headphones, or if you're in a car, like listening to your car speakers as well.
Also, the quality of your ears.
Yeah.
Because everybody's bringing different ears to the table as well,
Absolutely.
right?
Factor that in.
Yeah. So when I was in JB and I saw the listening station, so I was like, okay, I've got time, so I'm just gonna do a little.
I'm gonna do a listening
of all these different. So I can't remember all the brands, but the ones I can remember is Beats, Sony, Bose, Sennheiser, and from my memory, Bose seemed to be right at the top end, like they were the most expensive.
I'm all about that Bose.
What I liked about so I started with the Beats, and I've never listened to Beats headphones before.
Beats by Dre?
Studio Beats, I think they were called.
By Dre?
Yes. Do you have to say by Dre? Is that legally?
I like
by
to say
Dre.
I mean, I didn't. Well, let's go one thing straight. I didn't forget about Dre.
Okay, well, that's all I'm worrying about.
Okay.
Whether you had forgotten about Dre. Clearly, I had not. I was trying to insert Dre into any possible situation.
So I listened to those 3 different Beats by Dre. The basic level, I think it's called like Studio Beats or something like that, which was like smaller. And I put them on, and I really liked them because I have small ears. Because I did have this dude. Well, first of all, impossible to get an attendant at JB Hi-Fi. I don't know if they've cut back on staffing.
I think so.
Fucking hell, man! Because I was there for like a good 10 minutes, and then I was like,
"And are you just a lingerer?"
A lingerer,
yes.
But then I'd started going for a wander and looking for a laminate. But all the laminates were talking to other people, so I thought, well, I'll just go up to the front counter and say to them, "Hey, could you radio someone to meet me at the headphones?"
Okay.
And I went up to the counter and said, "Hey, I'm interested in buying some headphones." And the woman's going, "Yeah, they're down by." And I said, "I know where they are, but I've been there for 10 minutes. Could you ask someone?" And she's like, "No, this is just for." And I said, "Yeah, I get what your job is. I'm not questioning, but could you, as I see you have a radio, could you ask someone?" And she's gone, "Yeah, just go. Someone will be down there soon." And I'm like, "Okay, I guess that works." So I went back and had to wait. And then I was just anyone who looked like an employee. I asked 2 people who weren't employees, just because they were wearing rock and roll t-shirts, if they could help me with headphones. They don't work here. And then finally found one guy to come over. He was saying people like the Beats by Dre Studio ones, but they're small, and so people don't like the feeling of the. They don't cover the ears. They kind of sit on the ears. But when you got
for you,
tiny little ears like mine,
they cover your ears.
They covered my ears, and they're super lightbit. And I was like, oh, I like this feeling of not feeling them. So I listened to those. They were good. Then I went on to the Sonys, which were really good, bit bigger. But this is where I started to hear the sound quality difference, because I was like, I think I put on Chop Suey, System of a Down. And I know that song, like, it's 20 years old. I never realized there was like a spoken intro before that. Did you know that before the song starts?
How bad were your old headphones?
Oh, my ears. Did you know it's like something, they say something like, "This is a song about suicide," or something like that before the track plays? Did you know that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, I heard it. And I was like, "Who's talking?" I started swinging. Just started like throwing punches, like someone's behind me. So they were pretty good, but then I got up to the Bose, and the very top line Bose, I think they're like almost $800, maybe $900. They have this thing, and I'm going to get the name wrong, Mike. Maybe you can check it out for me. It's called like spatial awareness system. Okay. So when you listen to music,
the SAS.
The SAS. They take you into a dark room and ask you if your father ever hugged you.
You put their headphones on and they're like, "Tell us the truth."
No, so what it does is it creates a soundscape where what it felt like is that I think it was Pink, or it was the sample song that she was playing there, and you could hear all the different parts of the band and the music.
Oh yeah.
And when you turned your head, like the sound would move with you. So it's like, oh, okay, I can hear the bass over there, and if I turn my head that way, you're getting more bass. And if you like, it had a really It was amazing. It was like this like immersive oral experience. And so I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't have the money to spend $800 on a set of headphones.
But also, I don't know if, like, I mean, I'd either put it on that and then just have it stuck on that all the time. So every time I just looked over to my left, suddenly the bass would be too high in the thing that I was listening to. Or I'd never turned it on because it would need full concentration.
And that's kind of what, because I listened to it and I was like, this is amazing. But then I was like, I think I'd find this a distracting experience because sometimes like I just like to put on music and lie in my bed and close my eyes and just like listen. But then, like, I don't want to be. I don't want to be actively involved in the experience of listening.
I trust that Butch Vig got the mix right in the studio.
I don't have to slightly turn my head 10% to kind of.
Need more bass.
But it was an interesting thing. Like, I imagine for movies, it would be amazing. Like that you could sit at home on your TV and put an action movie on, and you'd have like that cinema experience. It was pretty phenomenal. Like
I know they've tried choose your own adventure sort of style, movies, pieces of entertainment. But what if there was in a like TV show? Well, I guess we've spoken about this a little bit before in a different way. But what if when you digitally remastered something, what that meant was that you were
you could focus on
you could focus on like different people.
So the Harry Met Sally diner scene, like you're like, what's that old lady who's watching Meg Ryan? What's she eating?
What's she eating? And what are they saying?
But I agree. Like because
wouldn't that be interesting? Like so, then you've got the movie, but you're just broadening out from a different person's perspective. You get to see that.
We have talked about this before, and I was saying I could totally see like with what they did with Get Back, the Beatles doco on Disney, and the way they were able to use AI to kind of not only improve the quality of the 16mm film and make it look like it was present day, but then the sound quality, and they're able to use algorithms to extract out all the different audio tracks so you could hear like what all the Beatles are saying to each other, even if they were sort of off mic. If we get to a point where they could create a fully immersive experience, imagine being able to go sit in the studio with the Beatles, like it's a 3D headset with the that spatial awareness audio.
I mean, I think that's not far away.
I don't think so either. That's something you'd like to do, though, right?
Those VR headsets, I think that is at their best. I don't think it's quite at the point of being able to do that, but I think that's the direction where if that stuff is really going to take off. Because I did the VR demonstration at Apple, went in and
you did,
because you can just go in and like book in 30 minutes,
really,
and they'll run
at the Apple store. There's I didn't even know there was. What's their VR?
So they're whatever their Apple
start
headset.
Screaming, get me out, get me out.
They'll you can just book in and you can
What's
go
it
in
like?
And try the headset. Oh well, I mean the most impressive bits of it are here's Alicia Keys and she looks like she's playing a gig in front of you, and you could feel like you could go up and touch the piano.
People just start to see Will standing there with his hands outstretched. Mr. Anderson, your time's up. You'll have to watch the Patreon to get that gag. That's a little bonus.
I don't think you will. I think people will be able to assume what hand gesture, or at least one of two hand gestures you were doing in that moment. So
I saw there was a similar thing. I don't know if it's, there's the Sphere in Vegas, which is that.
Yeah.
It's not that, but it's a similar thing for the what was the last wrestling pay-per-view? I think it was SummerSlam or something. No, it wouldn't have been SummerSlam. Whatever. Survivor Series. There was it was a similar kind of immersive, like domed environment, but the way they'd set up the cameras at the event made it feel like you were in the ring. So you're sitting in the audience, but it felt like you were literally on the side of the ring, and because it was a curved screen, so you could see like two wrestlers over there, but then you could see those guys over there, and it's all happening live. So I was like, oh, this is what sports will be soon. We'll be able to.
Apparently, there's some bar in America that's already set up.
I think
that
was the bar.
Okay,
I think that was the one. But it was amazing. Like I would imagine being able to go or watch a game of football, and it's like, oh, what's happening in the forward line, and then like you just put your attention there, and you'll probably be able to zoom in and actually see what Marcus Bontempelli's saying to his opponent or whatever. Like that's amazing. That's good use of like AI, right?
I mean, I don't know.
Isn't it?
I mean, I know that we feel like we want it, but is it good? Or is it going to be, how we imagine that, like the scenario you've just painted is the absolute upside of how it's being used, but also maybe it's being used by neo-Nazis to have secret meetings about like overthrowing society, because the people who run these companies are the same people that we let build all that power by running the social media companies. And I don't know if you've been watching the news.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I actually met a guy last night, a journalist who lives and works in the States, and he does a lot of. He's interviewed a lot of very powerful people and done a lot of work in Silicon Valley, and he's like, they are the worst people you have ever met.
Sociopaths.
Yeah, completely. And he said that like all the billionaires who are championing AI, he's like, they're all so bullish about it, and it's going to fix climate change, and it's going to fix that and fix that. And he's gone, but they're all people who are insulated from the negative effects of it.
Right.
Like they'll be okay because they don't work in a labor market.
They've got a bunker.
Yeah.
It's set up. If anything, at the moment, they got itchy bunker finger. You know what I mean? Like, they've gone to all this effort of like putting together this rad bunker. What's the point of like spending like millions and millions of dollars on your secret lair if you don't at some stage get to go and live in your secret lair?
So if you're like a Christian who believes in the rapture, which is like, God's going to come back down, not as the lamb, but as the lion, sort some shit out, take the good guys to heaven, cast everyone else into hell.
I'd be into the
rapture. Is now not the time to get started? Like, what are you waiting for? Like, shit's getting really, really like, we're getting close to the edge. Like, come down now. Like, just get ahead of the game, Jesus.
Quick pitch.
Yep.
Jesus Christ Superstar meets Hamilton. Okay. The Rapture. And it's a hip-hop.
Oh, the Rapture.
The Rapture.
Yeah,
right?
I love it.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like
Jesus comes down with like a big kind of white fro. Oh, he would have a black fro because he was a black guy. So he'd come down big fro, like the broccoli fro, big gold
King
chain.
Of kings.
Yeah, totally.
I'm back, bitches.
Yeah, and I'm not your fucking love thy neighbor, motherfuckers.
Please allow me to reintroduce myself.
I got this flaming sword and it's about to start swinging. Yeah, I reckon that would be great.
Yeah.
So Jesus comes down. So hang on, let's pitch the concept and then we'll adapt it into a musical.
Yeah, okay. So
it's the Rapture.
Yeah. So what is the Rapture? You probably know more about the Rapture than I do.
I really probably don't.
Okay,
let's bring it up.
What's the kind of basic plot points of the Rapture? Like,
I mean, so from what I understand, the Rapture is like it's the reckoning, right? We understand that it's.
We understand
God gave us enough time to get this shit right.
Yeah.
He sent down his only son. Mm-hmm. How did that go?
Not great.
We nailed him to
in
some
retrospect. Not great.
Like, I mean, I wonder too, like in the Rapture, if there is an opportunity for us to sort of like, if God's like, just give me one good reason why you did what you did. Like I sent a savior down and you tortured him and killed him. Like who's our representative do we get like a lawyer? Someone who argues this stuff in court? Like who goes up to God and say, okay, this is why we did what we did?
Johnny Knoxville. Because I just feel like we need someone who's got a good, fun vibe about like extreme stunts gone wrong.
Oh,
right?
Okay. So,
like, so he can be like, look at all the like damaging things I've done in the name of like bringing people together and entertaining people. And we just thought, like, this is the ultimate of like this. Look at how much fun me and my disciples,
right?
The rest of the Jackass crew. Like, I mean, if anything, Johnny Knoxville is the modern day.
So I was going to say, like, so if they could somehow,
is that too much of a leap?
So Johnny Knoxville, he says, look, we'll recreate what happened, but we'll put some funny music to it, and we'll have Jesus in a G-string, and we're firing like paint guns at him and stuff, and you'll see how it's kind of funny.
A Jesus string.
Yeah.
Come on, that's funny.
We're firing like nail guns at him. All right, the Rapture.
Yeah.
In a Christian context, is the belief that at the return of Christ, all believers, both living and dead, will be caught up or raptured to meet the Lord in the air.
I mean,
that sounds fun.
Because just even imagine the start of the musical. Chicka, 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 guess who's back? Right?
Back
this
again.
Works,
Jesus
right?
back. Tell your friend. Okay, here's a more detailed explanation. The biblical basis. The concept of the rapture is rooted in passages like Thessalonians 4, 15, 17, which describes believers being caught up to meet the Lord in the air. The key beliefs of the second coming. The rapture is tied to the second coming of Jesus Christ, the resurrection. All dead believers will be resurrected.
Okay.
And living believers will be transformed.
Oh, okay.
and ascension.
So we can do a Transformers crossover as well.
Yeah, all believers, living and dead, will ascend to meet Jesus in the air. So okay, why in the so heaven in the air?
I just got to meet him.
But aren't the dead ones already up there? Or are you bringing corpses up?
Yeah.
And 2,000 years of Christianity, right? That's like a lot of dead bodies to be bringing out of the ground. Okay, variations in interpretation. The pre-tribulation rapture. Some believe the rapture will occur before a period of tribulation or great suffering on earth.
Oh my God.
Before? Okay, before. So this maybe isn't it. Like it would have happened by now. Or maybe what's happening now isn't as bad as it's going to get.
I feel like that's actually true, though.
Okay. There's mid-tribulation rapture. Others believe it will occur during the middle of the tribulation.
Okay.
So this could be...
I feel like we're mid-trib at the moment.
Mid-trib or post-trib.
Yeah.
Some believe it will occur after the tribulation.
I don't think we're post-trib. I think we're mid-trib.
There's also not a universal Christian belief. The rapture is a specific position, particularly with an American evangelicalism, and is not universally held within Christianity. Okay, so it's one of those add-on Christians. I don't know that Jesus necessarily was like, this is what's going to happen. I think later on some people were like, it'd be cool if we did a rap musical where Jesus came back and fucked some people up.
Yeah.
So it says here.
I think that's still that's enough, honestly, to play with. Are the 4 horse people of the apocalypse involved in, or is that a different thing?
Well, let's bring him in.
I reckon
we can.
I reckon
it's the same thing, right? The apocalypse, the rapture, same thing. Who's going to check?
Yeah, I also just think we need some other characters.
Okay.
Because I mean, obviously Jesus is back.
And
this time
you need a rap crew.
But you need like a rap crew, which feels like
I got it. So you're talking about the Antichrist.
Yeah. I guess that's what I need, right?
That's what you need. Yeah.
So the antagonist is the literal greatest antagonist of all time. It is the Antichrist. So we've got the Christ and we've got the Antichrist.
Yeah.
So the plot points of the rapture, six plot points.
Oh, this is good.
Sudden disappearance of believers. What you were talking about, Charlie.
Okay. So this is how it opens. Let's just do this one by one then. This is good. This is how...
You and I are doing this podcast and then I just disappear. And you're like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah. Yes. That's not bad,
I mean, no explanation.
I'm not saying that's the whole start of the musical, but maybe it's a bunch of scenes.
It's a prologue. It's a prologue. Well, it can be a disconnected cold open.
Well, because it's one of those things too where I think the way you'd stage it, and again...
Because we need to get some money for this.
Yeah. But I also think it's like a whole bunch of scenes at the start
of just people
like coming in and out of the stage where someone disappears.
Yeah, who are the best? Who are the like Hugh Jackman's on stage? He disappears.
Disappears.
Yeah,
great opportunity for a great cameo as well. Like in The Shield. I think I can do spoilers for The Shield now that it's like
Agents of The Shield or the police show?
The police show, The Shield. Okay. In the first episode, there's... Sorry, I know it's a bit of a leap.
I don't even know who's in The Shield. Like what? Which one was that? Okay.
So it's a great show. Like if people haven't seen it, it's
no one's gonna.
It's brilliant, but it doesn't matter.
Did you find that at your DVD store that you went to in Canberra?
This brand new show that I just got the DVDs off. It's actually a brilliant show. I highly recommend it.
It's got the VHS box set.
One of the things it did was the highest profile actor in the pilot gets killed. You think he must be a regular character because he's basically the only one you know, and he's the one who actually doesn't make it through the opening episode. It works really well. So it'd be great if there were a Rocky Horror style cameo every night.
Okay.
Where there was like one character, like a Hugh Jackman or someone else from the theatre who gets disappeared in the opening scene as a bit of a joke for the it could be like when we're doing this on Broadway.
Yeah.
Right. You could like each night it could be like Leah Michelle or somebody comes down from Sarah Snook comes down from doing...
and gets disappeared.
Yeah, and gets disappeared for the night.
Yeah, she's doing a monologue from Dorian Gray. Yeah. And suddenly she's gone.
She's gone.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay, right.
All right.
All right, so that's the first one. Everyone disappears.
Yeah.
All right,
off the back of that leans into chaos on Earth. So
chaos on Earth.
Cars are crashing, planes are falling. Everyone's like, half the population's gone, so everyone's freaking out.
Yeah, no, that's great. So we've got this immediate thing where it's the mystery. Everyone's disappearing.
Is this still a play, by the way? I'm seeing this very cinematically. How are we going to do cars crashing and planes dropping out of the sky?
It's a musical. You can do that stuff as a musical.
Sure.
Well, the thing is, the reason I'm saying that it's a musical is, to me, We've got the like. It is the Jesus Christ Superstar is back again, and it is one of the most popular musicals of all time. Hamilton, popular rap musical. I just feel like there's a real audience for this. Like, I feel like this is
that's the pitch too.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ Superstar, Hamilton,
and I think you can do it as a musical in a way that you can't make this as a religious movie, because otherwise you have to get Mel Gibson involved and Jim Caviezel. You know, like I think it just works in that heightened reality. So, like, we don't have to have planes literally crashing in the sky, but maybe we do. They do stuff like that in Broadway musicals now, right?
Yeah.
But there's chaos.
Okay.
Right? That's
I guess you just need 10 background actors running back and forth screaming.
It's the big...
My baby, my baby.
Right. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Phantom of the Opera, the chandelier falls. We can just hook up a plane instead.
Yes.
Oh, can we? That's easy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Miss Saigon is probably a better... They have a chopper in Miss Saigon that comes down, but that is an expensive... Like, how are we going? All right, I'm not. Let's blue sky this. I'm not going to start talking about like the budget or anything just yet.
I mean, I love that you're really like, but how are we
guys? Come on, we can't let's just scale it back a bit.
Even in our most hypothetical of dreams, you're like,
I'm checking. Nah, we can't afford this, guys. Like, really, I'm going to have to double the Patreon if we're going to pull this off.
The insurance premiums on that alone.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it you can do with. Like, it's the theatre.
Yeah, we do projections.
That's right.
We do projections of, like, planes crashing and people screaming and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sometimes...
Moving screens.
That's right. Sometimes you can, like, the characters on stage who are singing something about the world ending...
Yeah.
At the time, will be doing the majority of the work.
I mean, having said that, the Sydney Theatre Company last year did an incredible version of On the Beach, which is about the end of the world, a submarine coming to Australia and the end of the world. And that was done in like an ultra minimalist kind of almost black box style. And it was no less like compelling or gripping or anything. So you're right. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, yeah, okay.
No.
So it's the end of the world.
Yeah. It's like, how would they ever do this in the theatre? The same place that they did King Kong the musical. How would they ever achieve these things? Okay, all right. So that's beat 2. I love this. This is, as an opening, they are two. It just works very well as storytelling, I think.
Hugh Jackman singing "When My Baby Goes to Rio," gone. The audience gasps.
He's like, "Where is he? Rio? Did he go to Rio?"
Then cue chaos, car crashes and stuff. And then is there a booming... Because they don't really sort of say how the crapture...
We might have to rename it just for legal reasons. We'll get in trouble with the church.
Like copyright rapture. So it's in the
Rapture.
So is it a booming voice of God saying like, humans... You have let me.
Okay. Here we go.
Because
so
what's something else that's got to get deeper in this.
What's step 3?
This might be a leap to get your head around because it seems unbelievable. But
all right.
A charismatic world leader emerges, offering peace and stability in a time of global crisis. He's the Antichrist. This is the Antichrist.
Okay. The Antichrist comes.
I can't imagine that happening. It seems too fantastic.
Well, so let's say that Trump isn't the Antichrist, right? Yeah. Because that seems too obvious.
Someone rises
Trump went up. Trump went up. That was the plot twist.
That would be that's a huge plot twist.
Wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Imagine if he disappears.
Yeah.
But somebody else.
The Dalai Lama is just like one of the people running around in the street screaming, and Trump gets ascended.
I mean, it'd be weird if Trump went up and the Pope stayed. Yeah. So I think this is like it's set in a kind of post-Trump world, right? It's too on the nose for it to be Trump.
Yes.
It's about the leader who rises after Trump.
Yeah.
Who's been made possible by
in
Trump.
Reaction to.
In reaction to. And we think he is this great healing person, but it turns out is actually the Antichrist. Who is that?
Is it a fictional character, or are we picking someone that exists?
No. What do you think?
I think we make him fictional because then we can imbue them with all kinds of
people can read into it as who they
totally. Yes. Yeah. Like I mean, as a like a model, like a Justin Trudeau.
Yeah. So you take a bit of Trudeau, you take a bit of Thunberg,
says the right things,
and you kind of put them all together into this perfect avatar for what would be seen as like.
A great speaker, presents well, seems to say the right things. It's not about division, but everything about him we find out is He's so hang on. If he's the Antichrist, is he anti the rapture? Because he wants this to continue. That's his thing.
So I think he's the one who says, "I'll sort it out. I know what to do." You'll know it. They'll have a mark of the beast, and they'll try and create a one world government. That's how you know.
Oh yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. I feel like there's some online forums which people are discussing this.
Someone might have a real spike for this episode.
Totally. 700 comments. We like this.
TOFOP a base?
Yeah.
Is that the right way to use that?
I don't know. Okay, so
I like the idea of a fictional one, but I also like the idea of just it ending up being Greta Thunberg.
I mean...
But half the world already views her as being
That's the problem. It has to be someone who is universally beloved. Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. I feel bad. I actually feel bad about saying that. But that's good.
But like if we're talking about someone who is just if the whole premise has got to be...
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. Imagine if Hugh Jackman
or The Rock.
Antichrist.
Or has he been on the nose at the moment, The Rock? He kind of... Maybe 2 years ago, The Rock would have worked. He was so popular. And it makes sense because he's so ambitious and had such a huge work ethic that's like, how the fuck is he getting all this done? And to find out he's powered by, the dark forces would make the most amount of sense.
Yeah, and we have been getting some
And I mean, how do you stay that jacked in your mid-50s without, like, the, satanic power?
But also, it's the perfect job to have a cover for someone who has the occasional real...
I mean, he looks like a monster, it's like he's hiding in plain sight. If you put devil horns and hooves on him, you're like, oh yeah, that's like a very typical caricature of Satan.
Yeah, but that's the problem is, right, that like that's the too obvious answer.
Okay, so you want more the opposite.
And in case it's going to, instead it's going to be like Ed Sheeran or someone.
Yeah, okay, so there's a few beloved celebrities. So let's, like Keanu, I mean, Dave Grohl up until about 6 months ago would have been easy to put in that category. Hugh Jackman, like we said.
I feel like it's got to be someone who's like, everyone just agrees
Kristen
is great.
Wiig.
And
she's quite beloved.
Who's
like Will Ferrell?
Who do you think is the most popular? Tom Hanks? No,
Margot Robbie.
There's a lot of people
Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, I don't think people like him.
DiCaprio.
But Margot Robbie's pretty beloved, isn't she? Everyone just thinks she's great.
Yeah.
She's never really put a foot wrong. She hasn't trashed anybody. She hasn't, she just seems
Margot Robbie.
Barbie.
As the Antichrist. Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah.
I mean, we get funding. I mean, her production company might actually be the one that gets behind it, Yeah. It's a feminist retelling of the Antichrist story. Why do we assume that the Antichrist is going to be a man?
I mean, she'd be the biggest pop movie star in the world, right? Wouldn't she be? Like, after Barbie, she'd have to be up there.
I mean, I guess so. Box office.
Her or Ryan Gosling could be Antichrist. He's kind of beloved as well. People seem to love him. He does SNL. Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Not quite, though, is it?
No. I think Keanu's good because Keanu shies. Is it shy? Is that the my brain's away. Shy the spotlight? He stays away from the spotlight. So if you were the Antichrist, you wouldn't be out there. Too many chances to be exposed if you're constantly, doing social media videos and stuff like the other guys. So I think. Are we happy to say Keanu? Let's just say Keanu for now so we can keep moving forward.
Okay. What if that, because he did that movie, did he not do
The Devil's, the one with Al Pacino. The Devil's Advocate.
So where he was like,
a lawyer for
the devil.
And that's maybe where
where it happened.
Remember where it happened.
In that movie.
The devil saw it and was like, it was kind of a middling movie, but you didn't like...
I don't think he's good as a lawyer, but he'd be good to be
my agent
devil, my agent of destruction on the planet Earth. He'd be perfect for
Antichrist.
That. Oh my God.
Well, it would also make sense too because he seems to have had this blessed career, but then quite a tragic private life. It's almost like that's been the devil's bargain. The devil's like, I'll give you this incredible professional success, but I'm going to have to take from you. It's the monkey paw in your real life. And then we're like, oh, it all makes sense. How does Keanu, has he been famous for 40 years, working this in level and universally beloved with seemingly a very limited range of talents? Like, it does make sense when you look into it, doesn't it?
Yeah, he was the devil's advocate, but then the devil became an advocate for
him. Yes. All right. Okay. What's step 3 or step? What are we up to?
Oh, 4. Well, I think we're
Up
up
to
to
step
4.
4. That's the end of Act 1, by the way.
Okay.
All right,
Great.
so
Yeah,
is the end of Act 1 is the reveal? Is that it, or is Keanu
I
just
think-
introduced?
Up to you guys. I think that would be nice if the plot twist is revealed that Keanu's actually the Antichrist.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, if we could get Keanu to be in it.
Can he sing?
Can he sing? He's not the singer in his band.
Dogstar, no. I mean, I'm sure he could sing a little bit. Why does he need to sing?
Oh,
he's got
it's
a
a
rap.
musical.
No, he's got a rap.
He's got a rap. That's right. He can rap.
He can rap, for sure.
Yeah. I'm
My name is
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu.
And
I'm here to say. Whoa.
Here to let you know. I saw the end of the earth and I went, whoa. That's it. That's the big hit. It's things that make you go, whoa. It's the big number at the end of the first half. It's just Keanu going through a list of things in the world that make him go, whoa. They're the ills of the world.
Climate change. Whoa.
Whoa.
Rampant capitalism. Whoa. Wealth inequality. Whoa.
School shootings. Whoa.
Things that make you go, whoa. All right. So hang on. Did you say there was six steps?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Act 6.
6 steps. So structurally, to be at the end of Act 1 by step 4 doesn't make any sense.
He meant the first half of the play.
Okay.
First half of the musical.
Okay.
Not Act 1 in a movie structure.
Not in a 3-act structure.
No, 3 and 3. We're going 3 and 3 here,
right.
I'm
That's
assuming.
right.
Is what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interval, get some popcorn, come back.
That's
Okay.
right.
Opening. So
that's great because when everybody's out in the foyer, they'll be thinking about their own things that make you go, whoa.
Whoa.
You know what I mean?
That's right. Overpriced popcorn at the theater. Whoa. A program that's $75.
Whoa. I mean, the devil does make some good points.
All right, step 5? All right, come back from interval.
Act 2 opens after interval, and we're up to, this is the tribulation period. 7 years of judgment, time of intense suffering, plagues, wars, a divine wrath unfolds. This is the start of the revelation.
Okay, this is great. This is the start of the second half.
Open with a bang.
Big,
Get the audience back in.
That's right.
Because
we could even do. Did you say over 7 years? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 7 years. Of judgment.
So I think half time we come back 7 years later.
Yep.
Right?
Oh, great.
Time jump. 7 years later, and the opening numbers about kind of what's happened since. Right?
Yeah.
Let's just skip. We use that as our time.
Society has collapsed. It's just like
awesome.
There's a few strongholds left.
I mean, this honestly does sound pretty good. the more we talk about it, the more I'm quite into this as an idea.
And Keanu has now taken all those seeds that he planted at the end of the first act and now planted. He's now in full control.
That's right.
Yeah.
But that's fun for us as well.
Yeah.
Like an entire society that is shaped in the kind of pattern of Keanu Reeves.
And what I love about it too is like when we first see Keanu, he's sort of like, he's now in sort of quasi-military fatigues now, like a dictator.
Oh yeah.
But like Dogstar, they're always like, how like in feudal times the king would have like a troubadours and following around, like Dogstar following around, just always just playing music in the background for him.
Yeah, I love that. And I love, a Che Guevara style military.
And he loves motorbikes, so he comes on stage on like a Fury Road-esque, like customized motorbike chariot.
Just by the way, I know that we're describing the Antichrist in this like Rapture movie that we're making, but
musical.
A musical, well, whatever it is that we're pitching. We're happy for it to be all of those things, by the way. The world we've described so far, which is a world in which all the religious people have been raptured away and Keanu Reeves is now in charge of the world, sounds better than the world we're currently in. Is that bad?
Oh, yeah, I don't mind it. Everyone rides motorbikes.
Yeah.
Eats sandwiches on park benches looking sad.
Okay, so it's 7 years later, Keanu's in charge, the world has crumbled. What's going on, Mike? What happens next?
It's a don't look up situation. So people are saying, no, Keanu's right because people are given a chance to come good.
Oh yeah, okay, that's right.
And they are persecuted for that. So then we
All right,
move on to
Hang on, sorry. People are given a chance to repent and ascend.
Repent and ascend.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Who
they
wouldn't
are
do that?
Some people are going, no, Keanu's right, mate.
Oh, okay, right.
I'm loving
the motorbikes.
I'm loving it.
And the dog star.
I'm going to see this through.
Yeah.
I've always had my faith in him. He hasn't let me down yet.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
John Wick 17's just been released. I've got to see it in the big screen.
Well, because that's what he would be doing. Like, as part of it, right? That's your bread and circuses. If you're trying to convince people that, like, the world hasn't crumbled around you, maybe that's the dystopian future, right? The dystopian future is everyone hasn't noticed that the world has crumbled around them so much because they are too distracted by the fact that John Wick 17 just came out, or like, Bill and Ted's.
And he's just gotten very lazy by this stage. Like John Wick 17 is just sitting in a comfortable chair for 2 hours, just lazily firing off a gun at people.
It's John Wick reads Keanu Reeves' book. Just in character.
So while he was distracting everyone, he was building an army. And this sets the stage for the battle.
There's an army.
Battle. Jesus comes down. It's good versus evil. A massive war.
Okay. Now who's playing Jesus? Alex Winter? Do we get Alex Winter to play Jesus, or is that too on the nose?
I mean, I think that it would be a funny joke for Alex Winter to be like maybe the Archangel Gabriel or something like that. Right? A cameo.
All right.
I feel like we can't land this whole thing on Winter, right? Like,
do you want a bigger star? Is that what you're saying, or just like a bigger impact in general?
I think there should be because this obviously there'll be some great pop culture references in this. Like one of them could be like winter is coming, and then Alex Winter comes down. I think that'd
be
an endless
winter.
Yeah, right.
2,000 years of winter.
Winter.
You talking about me, guys?
Yeah, right.
Get out of here, Alex.
Alex. But we need like a heavy hitter for our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Denzel.
So, Denzel's pretty good.
Maybe a bit too old.
Could it be though?
He'd be more like the voice of God.
If we are should maybe we have a female Jesus? Is that too edgy? But
is that where Margot Robbie comes in
as Jesus?
Oh yeah, Margot Jesus.
What about who's it like a musical? Is there a music? Because if we wanted someone who can sing,
what about?
Do we get like Taylor Swift or like Sabrina Carpenter or Doechii?
Well, I guess Doechii.
Doechii.
Yeah, man, you've turned me on to Doechii.
Well, I mean, it's a rap musical, by the way.
Yes.
So maybe Doechii.
Yeah, but since
Jesus,
I've seen her. I've heard, by the way, great tip. Thanks for putting me on to Doechii. But she's everywhere now. It's kind of like it's like Sabrina Carpenter was the same. It's like sort of vaguely aware of her, and now she's everywhere. And Doechii is the same. Yeah, let's get her. She's great.
Yeah, okay.
And gives us some cred for the Rapture.
Yeah, for the Rapture. That's good, actually. Yeah, all right. Doechii.
The copyright Rapture.
Yeah. All right. That's pretty good, actually. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, okay, great. All right,
here's
so she
a nice
comes
callback.
down.
The people who were taken up, they come back down as part of the
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Charlie, you're back down.
So finally I return.
You have to battle Wil.
Right. Rap battle.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be awful.
That's great. That's our version of Lin-Manuel Miranda being the lead in Hamilton.
Yeah.
It's like, we're just like, nah, we're in it.
Well,
we're in it.
It's like,
the final bit is us rap battling each other at the end.
It's like any kind of like end game or whatever. You got to have all your little micro battles and wrap up all your little rivalries and all that kind of stuff. So I guess you would have that.
Yeah.
And maybe, I mean, if Keanu's fighting Doechii, you could have like that's where Alex Winter cameo, Keanu's getting beaten. Is like, oh, I'm going to unleash the full force of winter on you. And Doechii's like, not winter. And it's like, oh, don't worry, it's just Alex Winter.
yeah. Lots of good stuff like that.
Yeah, we're going to have all little battles like that. But then it comes down to, because good storytelling, it's circular, it comes back to where it started. It's you and I back in the studio, and we rap battle for the future of humanity.
Charlie wanted to call the podcast Everyone Repent, and Wil was calling it Everyone Relax, Everyone Repent.
Everyone repent. Imagine if we just pivot to being like
a Christian fundamentalist podcast.
It'd be like the journey from the first episode through to that would be a real.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because wasn't that we did a deep dive on Insane Clown Posse once, and it turns out like that they were Christian and like their entire kind of, because they had this sort of mythology or whatever. With their albums, and it turns out when you get to like album 6, they're like, hey, by the way, we love Jesus, and if you liked our songs, you also love Jesus. Suck then.
Yeah.
So is that
the
us?
Narnia principle? Yeah. Imagine if we at the end just go, oh, this was all. Oh,
Yeah, you didn't get it?
you didn't get it?
Well, when we say everyone relax, what we mean is like, if you don't love Jesus, you're going to hell.
When we said our producer was called Mike, what we meant was Mike is God.
Yeah. Now, Will, we had many requests.
Yes, we
and
did.
Crack That Pack for one specific
Biscuit
biscuit that we weren't sure that we could find. I went past a very dodgy-looking mini-mart in King's Cross.
A vape store.
A vape store, mini-mart.
Store.
And I found...
Crack That Pack.
Arnott's chocolate Scotch fingers.
Brilliant.
Now, we talked so glowingly about these biscuits before we'd even eaten them. Do you want to put it all in the line and say that this will be a great biscuit that you're going to like B+ and higher?
I think B+. I think it's going to be a B+ and higher. Yeah, okay. Yep.
Mike, you kind of were a fan of these too, weren't you? Yeah. Yeah.
Big time.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious. It's been so long since I've had one.
Same.
And I wonder if because I've gotten older, maybe my palate has changed.
Expectations.
Yeah.
I haven't had any breakfast today, though. So, like,
this is going to kill you. This is going to be like Pulp Fiction, like just a adrenaline shot straight to your heart.
Good. I'm happy. Okay. I'm ready for it. Crack the pack.
Here we go.
Okay. Charlie is making it a little harder to crack the pack than it should have been, but I'm going to take one.
Yeah, Will's taking
They are.
first.
Look, they look good. I like that they feel like that's a brown, like on the top of like it's a well cooked.
It's well
biscuit.
done.
And I like that.
Like just while you take your bite, I just want to sort of argue whether or not shortbread, Scotch fingers are actual shortbread or not. Because do they claim to be shortbread? Because they're not. They don't taste like shortbread. Melt in the mouth, buttery deliciousness of Scotch finger with half a coat of real milk chocolate. It's almost like The Simpsons when Bart's drinking milk. It's like they're not saying that they're shortbread, but that's the kind of implication, right? Is that it's like a shortbread, a buttery biscuit. But shortbread has more. It's like not as crunchy, like a softer texture. Whereas I find the Scotch finger is a bit more of a grittier texture.
Yeah, it's definitely not shortbread, but it's shortbread inspired, I think.
First, the biggest question with the Scotch finger is, do you break the fingers in half? You did, and you did it well. I don't think I've ever broken one successfully. Here we go.
I didn't even realise there was an option not to break them in half.
Mike, do you always break them?
I've never broken it.
You've never broken a Scotch finger? No. What do you do?
That's the whole point.
Just eat the whole thing.
Like an animal. He puts it in the widest way possible.
Into your mouth, like I didn't realise there was even an option where you could not snap the Scotch finger. I just assumed that's how they were meant to be eaten. So Charlie is he's nodding his head, definitely an approval. Well, I'm gonna go first.
You please.
They're okay.
Yeah.
There's not enough.
There's a sameness with these.
Yeah,
chocolatey,
and the chocolate flavor isn't as distinct as I remember it.
No,
I feel like it was a bit like it just felt a bit plainer than I was imagining it was going to be. Like it got a bit better with the second bite. I think. Like first bite, I was like, I feel like I'm tasting nothing. Second bite, I got a bit more of the biscuit flavor and the chocolate flavor.
Yeah.
Third bite didn't feel like it added much more though. It felt like I only got to what I got on the second bite. I'm going to say, I think I was wrong. I think maybe that's just a B. It's a good, don't get me wrong. It's good.
Yeah.
I'm very, it's delicious. I will eat the rest of it. But
it's a good or ordinary biscuit.
Yeah.
It's a GOB. It's a gob.
It's a gob.
It's a real gobby.
Yeah, it's a gob. Get a gob and you gob.
But I think this batch might be, because mine is, I reckon it's borderline burnt.
Do you think it's overcooked? Do you think we've got an overcooked batch? Do you think this vape store has got its hands on some overcooked
I think
Scotch
maybe
fingers?
like whatever chemicals have been floating around the back of what that vape store is actually selling has polluted this pack, because I don't know, that just doesn't, that seems a bit too brown and crunchy. I think it's fine. If I was doing a blind taste test, this could be like a TV snack, or what are those chocolate finger ones, or chocolate teddy bear. I don't taste a lot of difference.
I just had like a little bit more to see if it would kick in. I was like, maybe
double drop. Did you double drop? Maybe
like,
shelve it.
I said I had half, and then I normally wait for that half to kick in before I go the second half. But in this case, I thought, well, maybe. But yeah, you know what, Charlie?
Yeah.
I'm going to say C+. I've downgraded it. I'm going to say C+.
Yeah. I'll say, I think B-. I think it's still better. It's better than average. Like if this was on a plate, I'd probably go to. But the other issue for me is it's too rich.
I think it's very sugary.
Mike, in the previous episode, you said that's what you like about
One
it.
and done. One and done.
Yeah.
It's a real tea or coffee biscuit.
Is it though? Is it? Because I find it like dunking that into a cup of tea, I feel like all I'd taste is the butter from the biscuit, and it's like very, very sweet. I don't know. It was
too sweet, too samey and sweet for me, I got to say.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to throw it at the camera like I did.
But also, maybe these are a specialist range that are just for the vape shops. And if somebody's going in there to get their sort of bubblegum vape or their blueberry vape, they need to have like more sugary, flavored Scotch fingers.
Do you ever wonder, like I often wonder this with biscuits and things like that, like how they actually coat them?
What do you mean?
Well, like I imagine there's like a conveyor belt, right?
Yeah.
But like,
yes.
So in the, before you start laughing, let me fucking explain what I mean.
Too late.
It could be small batch. That's
a good.
Well,
all right.
In the biscuit factory, dickheads.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Yes.
Is there chocolate in the biscuit factory? So they've got their biscuit production line that's spitting out teddy bears and Scotch fingers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so the plain ones go down one chute.
Yeah.
And then the chocolate covered ones go down another chute? Or do they make the biscuits, put them in a box, ship them to the chocolate factory, then they go down a conveyor belt into the chocolate? Like, why are you laughing? As if this is a weird question. Like, don't you think it's weird that a biscuit factory would have like a chocolate machine?
No, I don't. Chocolate biscuits are the most popular form of biscuit there is in biscuits. Of course, I would find it weirder that if a biscuit factory didn't have some sort of chocolate machine. They have fillings, they have coatings, they have things that are added to them. Unless you were making the plainest of all plains biscuits, you would have a system in place in your factory whereby things can be added to your biscuits.
I guess my question is it all automated? Where, like, do you make the biscuits in an oven and then they get like manually moved into a conveyor belt to get filled with icing or whatever?
I think it would be the same conveyor belt, and you could turn on my guess would be, but there may be two conveyor belts, but my guess is there is a little machine that you turn on that when the biscuits go by in the conveyor belt into being packed, chocolate goes on the top of it, and if you turn that machine off, no chocolate does, and you put those ones in the other packs.
So you reckon it's like a same conveyor belt for all biscuits with a chocolate option?
I mean, maybe not. Maybe there's different. Like, I mean, depending if they're running, like having to do both at the same time. But it would feel to me that.
But in which case, like,
it would feel weird that you have to set up a separate conveyor belt rather than, because the chocolate thing from when I've seen factory, like your footage, it's normally above the conveyor thing, right? It'll be on it, and they'll just like.
Isn't it a tray of chocolate? Like it's like melted chocolate, and the biscuits go through.
I mean, sometimes that's how it works, but like for something that's top coated, it might be, and then they turn them upside down, maybe. I don't know. In that case, that'd probably be a very specialist thing.
You're going back for another bite for your C+ biscuit.
I picked it up, and I don't even
No, this
actually
is interesting,
want it,
though. I think no.
No,
I think
it's
no.
more-
That's instinctive. That says something.
Yeah, it
That
says,
the
says
vape
that
shop
I didn't
has
have breakfast.
picked it with meth. Like you can't put it down.
It said that I had not had breakfast, and I felt a bit hungry.
All right, look, we're going to end the episode there. I want to
Yes.
talk a little bit about our Patreon because we do talk about it every week, and in case people don't quite understand what the benefits are, we have.
What are the benefits?
Well, we have sponsors this year,
Yes.
which is great. We've been sponsored the whole year, and thank you so much to the sponsors who have come on board, and thank you to anyone listening who's checked
Future
out our
sponsors.
sponsors and for future sponsors. But I do understand that for some people,
JB Hi-Fi, for example, maybe they'd want to get on board.
Yeah, totally. It can interrupt the listening experience. So, hey, Will, if you want to listen to an episode of TOFOP or Philosophy or Two Guys, One Cup without hearing the ads, do you know how you do that?
Go to the Patreon page. I'm hoping.
Sign up.
It'd be a weird thing to bring up Patreon and mention that if it wasn't.
Yeah, I have said, well, bad luck. You should have like on our Patreon. In fact, we play more ads on the Patreon.
We add in
double the ads that don't give us any money. Will and I do our own ads just for fun for products that don't exist. In fact, it's all ads. More ads, less podcasts. Join our Patreon. No, that's not what it is. They're ad-free episodes, and not only that, Will, they go up early. So if you just can't wait to get your fix of Two Guys, One Cup, or TOFOP, or Philosophy, sign up to our Patreon, and you can get it a day before everyone else. So you can strut around work or school the next day being like, ha, I know what Wil and Charlie think of the Scotch finger biscuit before you.
How old do you think people should be to listen to this podcast?
Like sort of according to like movie rating type thing?
Like if you...
PG. From episode like 300 on, I'd say PG. Prior to that, R.
If you heard, like if you met somebody and you were like, how old are you? And they said they listened to the podcast. How old would be too young where you'd be like, ooh, that feels...
15 and under. Why?
So there was a kid in my show in Canberra, Jasper. Hello, Jasper. You'll be listening because it turns out he's a big listener to TOFOP. 12. He was there with his mum, but I'm not sure his mum knows.
Well, I'm trying to think of like... I
said that to somebody else and they said there are much worse podcasts that are 12 years, like you could be listening to Andrew Tate or Joe Rogan or whatever it might be. So in the grand scheme of things,
probably not that bad.
Not that bad.
I mean, I guess I started watching The Big Gig when I was about 12. And Doug Anthony All-Stars did some pretty subversive stuff. Yeah. And The Empty Pockets playing porno clips and
that's right.
So I guess there were, and that, I turned out okay. I think, I mean, all this stuff, even when we did the more kind of like scatological, ribald humor, it was all done in a fairly goofy, inoffensive way. We weren't Andrew Tating it, going out, this is how you should live your life according to these values.
No, if anything, the real thing that we've said in this podcast is please don't pay any attention to us. There is 15 years of just terrible takes on things that we've had.
And tour dates. You're on tour non-stop. Will is bloody traveling the country left and right.
Comedy.com.au is the place for all the details, but Melbourne Comedy Festival will be all sold out, I imagine, by the time you hear this. But I did add an extra show of Will Legitimate. I'm touring Will Legitimate around regional areas. Ones that are coming up, Narre Warren and Coffs Harbour, but there's a bunch of other ones that are on comedy.com.au. But my improvised show, What You're Talking About, Will, we've added Sydney dates, we've added Brisbane dates, Orange, Newcastle, and a bunch of other places, Tassie.
If your town has a giant object, Will's coming to it.
I will look, and we will be adding more dates, so just check them out, comedy.com.au.
Did you know with ex-cyclone Alfred that the Ballina prawn lost one of its one of its feelers?
Oh no, the prawn.
One of its feelers is gone.
Oh well, return to the ocean from which it emerged in the first place. That's lovely. It's like a Viking funeral.
All right, that is TOFOP for this week. We'll speak to you again. Well, we won't speak to you again. You'll hear us next week. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Wil Anderson.